Hey, so a lot of VRChat tutorials are really bad. Today we're going to be going over attaching accessories and clothing to avatars. A lot of old tutorials have you do this in literally the worst possible way, so I felt like making a modern tutorial that takes into account the newer methods would be very helpful. We're going to start in the VRChat Creator Companion. This is the new way that VRC distributes its SDKs, and it's also just fairly useful. If you don't like this, keep in mind you only have to use it to create the project. If you're used to just opening your Unity hub and launching the project there, you can still do that, and that's what I most often do, but I just create it in the Creator Companion. The other thing that's really helpful about this is if you go down to Settings and Packages, you can add community repositories. So VRC Fury is what we're going to be using today for the non-destructive workflow. I highly recommend going to their GitHub, copying the link that they give you, clicking add repository, pasting it in here and hit add. Of course, it doesn't work for me because I've already added it. All right. And once you've done that, you can just go to projects, create a new one, avatars, give it a name, create it, and then we can just hit plus on this VRC Fury. Gesture Manager is also probably a recommended one. Then once that's done, just hit open project. All right, now that we're in our Unity project, I would just go ahead and import all of the things that we want to use, including the base and accessories we'd like to attach. If you're doing this on an existing project and you installed VRC Fury or Thrice tools via alternate means listed on their Gumroad, you can verify that they're installed by going up to Tools. You can see that we have a VRC Fury menu and we have a Thrice menu, so both of those are working. I'm going to go ahead and open up the included scene that comes with the Nardragon package, and it already has a pre-set up avatar ready for me to go. Most avatar bases come with some sort of setup like this. You just need to find wherever it is. Sometimes it's a prefab that you drag into an existing scene. Sometimes it's a scene that's already set up. And I also downloaded this free hoodie off of Gumroad. There's a link in the description. It also comes already set up with a VRC Fury script, set up ready to go to be attached to an avatar. When you have a prefab like this, that's already set up with VRC Fury, the only thing required in order to install it to your avatar is to place it underneath the avatar root, which is whichever component contains your avatar descriptor. And there you go, you are done. It is ready to go, it is ready to upload. If I uploaded this, that would be automatically merged, etc. And nothing else needs to be touched in 90% of cases in order for this to work. The one thing that I do caution you about is when you have pre-set up VRC Fury assets, do not turn it off. Leave it in whatever state it is, and that's just going to give you the least likely chance of anything breaking. If you're annoyed by however it looks when it is attached to your avatar and you would like to not see it, you can go over here in the hierarchy and you can turn off the visibility by clicking the little eyeball icon. So that's really easy, but what if we have a prefab which is not set up with VRC Fury? These tech pants come with a prefab which is already set up with a material and some fizzbones and stuff, but no VRC Fury component, so we got to set that up ourselves. First, let's just go ahead and take this and put it underneath the root of our avatar. Let's add a VRC Fury component. Two things are absolutely necessary in order for this to work properly with any avatar base. The first is an armature link, and in the armature link we need to put our root bone, which is usually for things like pants and jackets a hip bone, but in a case of something that only goes on the arm, the root bone may be like upper arm or some other bone, in which case you'd have to select the corresponding bone on the avatar. Whenever you have long menus like this, you can just type in the first letter and scroll through all the options if you need to. But for this, it's just the hip bone. If you get some debug info down here that lets you know that, it's detected the scales and it's adding a few as children, everything is working correctly. These bones are added as children because they are bones that do not exist on the base armature, and they're just the ones that are used for fizz bones for little straps. The other thing we do is we add a blend shape link, and so this actually makes sure that the blend shapes on your clothing match that on the base. We're going to put in the name of the skinned mesh object on the avatar. This is most often body, but whatever part of your avatar that is, well, the body with all of the customization blend shapes, that's what you put down here into the blend shape link. We also need to add whatever skinned mesh we're linking, and for that, that is the tech pants. So we are going to drag in tech pants, and if we get debug info down here saying that linked blend shapes are leg size, blah, 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 it's all working properly. Just like that, this asset's ready to go. You can create a toggle however you prefer, with whatever method you prefer, as long as you're not turning off the component that contains the VRC Fury script. Just make sure that you turn on and off the mesh as opposed to that. I'm going to show you how to do it with VRC Fury. It's straightforward and simple. You just go down here, add a toggle. Sometimes the names in VRC Fury are a little confusing. If you ever don't know what something is and there's a little question mark by it, you can click it and it gives you a short description of what this is. So for this menu path, if I wanted just a toggle named pants, I just type in pants. If I want pants to be underneath a menu called clothing, I just type in clothing/pants. And then if I were to create another toggle somewhere else and use this same prefix, it would show up in the same menu. I'm also going to go to options here, and I'm going to say that this toggle is saved between worlds. Click add action, and we're going to say we're doing an object toggle. Drag in our skinned mesh, and then this is ready to go. If you want this to be defaulted on, then you can click default on, and you will want to leave this on. If you instead don't want to default on, you want to default off, I would go in here and I would disable the skin mesh and then leave default on off. Now, in order to test this without leaving the Unity editor, we can click on our root of our avatar, click on tools, VRC Fury, build an editor test copy. This may take a second, and you also may get this pop up. I have not had any issues with just letting VRC Fury auto-fix this. In most cases, it just works. But if that does cause issues, you can just skip this step. I'm going to click auto-fix. Okay, now with our test avatar built, I'm going to disable the original. This just means that it won't be simulated. And in order to test that everything is working, we want to use whichever emulator of your choice. If you're using Gesture Manager as installed via Creator Companion, or if you're using Lyuma, however you want to do it. I'm just going to enter play mode since I'm using Gesture Manager. And we can see that we have our handsome Nardoragon, and our clothing menu exists, which contains the pants toggle, which if I turn on, it's right there. And our Fizzbones all work. We can also, for example, on the Nardoragon, go to customizations, and if we turn on the female toggle, the pants follow the blend shape change of the base. For the hoodie, it adds its own menu. We can turn it on, we can turn on the hood up. All these included animations all seem to work. Last thing I want to touch on before I close this off. VRC Fury is non-destructive. What this means is that since we're not directly making any changes to the FX layer, or the menu, or parameters that are set up in your avatar descriptor, and everything is built on upload using the VRC Fury script, these can be easily removed and added at any point in time. Say I wanted to upload a version of this avatar without the hoodie prefab included. All I need to do for that is to drag it out of the avatar package. It's also nice because it's easy to debug issues. If, for example, I've had issues with this hoodie in the past where face tracking wouldn't work on the Nardoragon when the hoodie was included. I was only able to figure that out because I was very easily able to pull the hoodie prefab out of the avatar, build it, and find that it worked. This is not the case with things like Avatar 3.0 Manager, which is a destructive workflow. It directly edits the FX layers and makes permanent changes to them. Another thing to note, though, is that, however, since this is non-destructive and we're not directly editing things until we upload, when you look at your performance ranking, it will not always be accurate to what will actually be uploaded. For example, the bone count here says 197 bones. This includes all of the bones that will be merged. See, if I look at the test copy, it only has 189 bones. Because those bones are actually being merged. That's just something to keep in mind, is that sometimes what you see here in the VRC SDK window is not totally accurate. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you managed to get something useful out of this, consider appeasing the YouTube algorithm so that others can also find this video or sharing it around. In the next episode, I would like to start covering some Blender stuff, very specifically relating to VRC. And yeah, I plan to make a series of these tutorials that will cover everything from optimization to doing custom kit bashes and other sort of things. And yeah, thanks for watching.